Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth webinar in our series. I'm Angela from the data visualization team at DataExpert. Today's webinar will be a little different from the previous ones in the form of double surprise. But for now, we'll keep you guessing, and in the meantime, let me very briefly introduce DataExpert. With 70 members, DataExpert is Europe's largest independent operations support provider. Last year, we completed 7,500 projects in the following areas: survey programming, data processing, data visualization, graphic design, MR technology transition support, custom development, and finally the trendy business intelligence. In today's 30-minute session, we will show you how to build trust during a CATI interview. Please write any questions you have in the Q&A area at any time during the presentation. Okay, so who is delivering our webinar today? At this time, we really wanted to choose a presenter who could motivate you and provide something really beneficial for you. So let me hand you over to our presenter today, who will also tell you more about our double mystery. Welcome, Tamás.
Thank you, Angela. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are happy to continue providing these free webinars, especially at this very difficult time. We hope that they can help to mix up your day a little and give you something extra to think about. What I was is very important at this current time in our world is to maintain a good level of positivity and to appreciate all that we have. So, with in mind, it would be great if you could all get onto the chat area and just type anything that you are grateful for at this time. Just one positive thing that you are really appreciate now. What is it? With my family at home, or more time for reading, etc., etc. And just let me check the chat area at the moment. And wow, some comments here such as I can be with my family at home, and my business is going well now, as thank God. Thank you guys, thank you for all your comments. So, our subject today will be using visuals during a CATI interview. We will show you how to build trust through CATI interviews which are more personal, interactive, and enjoyable. I would like to cover the following 5 things today. Firstly, we will consider CATI interviews in these difficult times. Secondly, we will look at an alternative interviewing method, that is the use of CATI technology. But we will also focus on how to do it better. And I will show you how the CATI web tool works. But before we start the show, this is the moment to tell you all that we have 2 special mystery guests who will be joining us for an interview at the end of this webinar. And you will also have some time to ask them difficult questions. But please don't ask me any. Feel free to share them during the presentation just by choosing Q&A button. But before we get started, we should say all 3 MR methodologies have advantages and disadvantages as well. You may have a preference or a favorite methodology, hopefully based on your clients, of course. But in the times of change like we have now, you too may have to change, and that might mean changing your methodology as well. Of course, we will talk about more this later. But let's consider the effects the restrictions have had on CATI. Obviously, everyone is stuck at home, and because we are avoiding people, we are also not attending meetings, of course, except the virtual ones. We are not able to go shopping unless it's for food or other essential items. With the introductions of restrictions, many KP projects have also been shut down, which means that the personal meetings and interactions, which are very much a part of KP interview process, are currently not possible. Those personal conversations are mostly not happening, which means that other less personal methods are being utilized, making it more difficult than ever to build trust with the respondent. No KP, which is a real big problem because this approach to survey interviewing has many benefits. Let's consider 3 of the most important ones. It's more personal because in this case, the interviewer does the job in person, greets the respondent with a friendly handshake, sits face to face, and is able to handle unexpected questions or situations quickly and just easily. The quality of the data is at high level. Because of the whole process is controlled by the interviewer, they can give the respondent clearer answers and immediate guidance. There is no unnecessary spam, at least not much, and it also facilitates data processing. And finally, communication runs more smoothly. And because questions are answered immediately, the time to complete the questionnaire can be shorter. Meanwhile, the respondent feels more confident that their answers will have a significant impact on the research. Of course, as with everything, this option has also its disadvantages. The number of such projects has decreased significantly, and there are challenges in addressing this. In addition, recruiting interviewers and organizing this kind of research results in a lot of money and time. Yes, KP technology is important, but in the current situation, a situation which has impacted the economy so much, we need to continue growing our businesses. To efficiently manage this period, we must recognize that flexibility plays an important role. And what does it mean in terms of survey interviewing? It means we need to think about other options. We need to adapt. Or, just Charles Darwin put it, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but one most responsive to change. And at this present time, I believe that this applies to businesses even more than ever. Being flexible, having willingness to change is the key in this present climate. And a little later, I will introduce you a tool which has already allowed many of our clients to make the change. But first, we are now going to consider the current situation and the features of CATI technology. The first thing to make absolutely clear is that the current pandemic has not had any major effect on CATI projects. And the word process involves a telephone call. There is no personal contact, you know. This research method is one of the best ways to conduct interviews in today's climate. And just like KP technology, you know, absolutely CATI also has its advantages. Firstly, it's effective. All you need is a respondent to answer your call, to pick up just the phone. And if the interviewer has a friendly tone, patient, and always puts the respondent at ease, and if you have a large sample list, that you can achieve a high fill rate. And in this current situation, that is something which is very precious. And finally, because you have high quality data, it will be more usable and much more efficient, the process. Basically, data processing is quicker and easier to do. We can provide, for example, tables, well-structured SPSS file, or even an eye-catching dashboard. However, we shouldn't forget that CATI also has its disadvantages. CATI projects often require considerable organizing. How many agents will be needed for the research? How complicated is the project, the survey? How much time will be needed for the fieldwork? It can be costly. If the research project is urgent or there is a high volume, there are a lot of people involved. Meanwhile, the interviewers also have to be paid. And then, of course, there is a multilingual question. Some projects involve 20 languages or more. Yes, it's absolutely true. And nowadays, machine interviews can be used for this. But if you want to keep it personal, if you want to connect with the respondent, if you want to be a trust, and then you will need to employ that many native speakers to hold the interviews. And that can be a real challenge in itself. And yes, of course, because you are not meeting face-to-face, it makes the interview less personal. Okay, if a CATI interview is not as personal as KP interview, then how can we successfully use this method? And at this present time, how can we utilize CATI to build trust and keep our physical distance? What if I was to tell you that CATI can be made much more personal? An interview with real-time visual sharing of images, videos, answers, which are written down and can be shared with the interviewer. A method of communicating which is more accurate, it's safer, and makes the work process more interactive. You can even do things like track the time the respondent spent with each of the visuals. And all these added features make it much more enjoyable for both respondent and interviewer as well. So the solution is not CATI, it is, but instead, you know, CATI with a facelift. So let me introduce you to the CATI web tool. I'm going to show you the page the agent is working on, and at the same time, what will happen to the respondent page. But first, grab the popcorn, put the Coca-Cola on the table, eyes on the screen. Let's enjoy the show. But please, let's pray that the technology is absolutely good to us. So now you will see left side on the agent view and on the right hand side, respondent view. First of all, please note, the respondent must receive and open a link, of course, to get the interface where almost all visual elements will appear from the questionnaire. There are currently two options for this. So first option, send the media to the respondent. You can see here this box. The link will be delivered within a second and contains a unique respondent ID to identify the respondent differently, which meaning that many interviews can run independently at the same time. We can also send this leaving SMS. Of course, the development works perfectly on the mobile phone as well. Or there is another option. If the respondent don't want to provide us their email address, we can give them a domain and they can open it and enter the ID. This can be our company's own domain or just a separate website created for this purpose. So now I will choose I don't want to share my email address. You can see here that we have got a respondent ID which is can copy to this box. And now we see nothing, of course. But if we go to the next screen and just respondent screen and bow, you will see the text. So we have arrived on the first question. There are controls button in the lower left corner of the screen, as you can see. Refresh respondent screen button, empty the respondent screen button, and the name of the link, which is really important because if the respondent accidentally closes the window, they can easily continue filling in the questionnaire with us from this point. And please note, when programming the questionnaire, we can manage which content we want to share with the respondent with simple copy and paste process. I mean just this picture or the question or the answer list as well. A new feature is currently being tested with which the questionnaire programmer will use a navigation interface to set what will be shown to the interviewer. Everything we show to the respondents depends entirely on the programmer, specific customer request, of course. The respondent side is just a read only, so there is no possibility to click on a different answer that was already given to the interviewer. If the interviewer put yes, the respondent cannot change it, as you can see. But please note one important word, trust. The respondent will clearly see in real time on their screen that the interviewer is really recording the same data they are giving on the phone. If it's a no as well. If it's a yes from the respondent side as well. This way we can build greater trust with the respondent, of course, and they will be happy to take part in your next research, which is important and useful for you. Confident about what they say, and what they see is what they get. Okay, go to the next one. It's about an open-ended question, as you can see. It's also show the full content of the entered text. If I put here dot and dot, on the respondent side, you will see dot and dot. But this is also a good option because in a case of any difficult to describe data, you know, it's a hard name or something like that, the respondent can correct the interviewers immediately. If the respondent say, come on, it is date, but I need data, it's just a correction, and after you can see here as well. Okay, let's see what we've got on the next screen. It's about something special, Ramio. What about showing a website to the respondent? Just enter the website address and send it to the respondent page using a new send website button. If you can say, of course, DataExpert website. And after I just send the website 3, 2, 1, and you can see here, it's very nice. So let's push on the next one. As I mentioned earlier in the webinar, we can easily share a video with the respondent. Currently, of course, these two videos are independent of each other, but we can also provide a solution for the interviewer to launch the video and the respondent to view the media content with it at the same time. It's absolutely kind, isn't it? Okay, now we see that a grid would look like. The zoom function is automatically overridden only for the media content, as you can see here. I show you now. So it's not a fact on a grid pictures, as you can see here. And here is another screen. The respondent can see what we tick. If yes, yes, and no. And on the right-hand side, you can see yes, yes, and no, of course. And again, I emphasize trust and confidence building. Okay, let's rush for another one. Yeah, we can see a slightly more complex screen with more content now. But here we can see that the interview instructions only appear on the clerk side. As you can see, click the button, blah, blah, and read the statement and so on. This is not here. So we just put our answers into the boxes in the grid. After, we can see the automatic filling process on the right-hand side. And the end of the interview, we can easily send our respondent to our website just now. And with the help of Redirect, browse further about what research we can do in the future. Please note that this kind of website is absolutely in the frame on the respondent side as well. So this was the CATI web tool I wanted to show you today. I mentioned before, several development features are being tested, and the new CATI web tool demo is coming soon, don't forget, in which you can already see the new interface. The navigation part of which will be extremely simple. No professional knowledge is required. You don't have to write code or anything similar. And now, just remind you, let's do a quick review. These are the points we touched on today. So, KP and CATI, we have investigated the advantages and disadvantages of KP and CATI technology. Responsive changes at this time, I think it's a really important thing. With a positive attitude, with confidence, and with the courage to adapt, there are ways to keep our business in the present climate at the same level or even to grow them. The current CATI approach makes it difficult to build trust. But interviews that have real-time visual sharing of images, videos, answers, which are written down and can be shared with the interviewers, make trust building much easier to do. We all know that we have to live with the distance at the moment. So we have to find an alternative solution to bring the respondent closer. And one alternative solution is the CATI web tool. And I'm very happy to tell you that now we can meet and talk two of my colleagues who are in some way connected to this tool. So let me welcome our first guest, a very important guest, the developer of the CATI web tool, Zsolt Aponyi. Welcome, Zsolt.
Hello, nice to be here. By the way, I really enjoyed your presentation, Tamás.
Thank you, my friend. So my first question to you, what was the key? So what was important for you in developing the CATI web tool?
I think the starting point was finding and to be clear about what we exactly wanted to achieve with the tool. We didn't want to just provide a product that would transform any kind of information, literally any kind of the respondents. What was even more important was just to improve the quality of the collected data. By the way, significantly improve it, and definitely not burdening the interviewers with any error-prone steps. But as well as good quality, we also wanted a solution that would provide some comfort or confidence for the respondents. For example, respondents can just see what the interviewer types in as an answer to basically whatever question type, and then they can just provide instant feedback. They can correct it anytime or change it in real time by specifying that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, so you wanted a solution to provide comfort or confidence for the respondent.
That's right.
I see. Okay. The second question for you from me. Tell us how it makes the agent job easier during the interview.
That's a really good question. The tool makes it more dynamic and easier for the agents to coordinate basically the entire questionnaire. It's for example, if the questionnaire contains very long lists, as they quite often do, the agent doesn't have to read the remaining items again and again and again. In, for example, a ranking question, there's just no need. The respondents can see everything during the interview, which makes it really easier and faster to complete.
I see.
So the length of the interview is also reduced, which makes the whole process even more efficient. And there are other features as well which make the process faster. For example, you also have the possibility to update the respondents page without having to touch even a button, which means that the agent has virtually no extra work to do during the interview.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely know what you were talking about, because me and my team had a lot of experience about the very long list. So, okay, thank you, Zsolt number one. And let me move to the other Zsolt. Zsolt Takács, leader of the Research Operation Department at DataExpert. Welcome, Zsolt, too.
Hi everyone. Oh, what a great picture.
Hello, Zsolt. Zsolt number two. What do you think about CATI projects?
Let me start with my general view of CATI project. I think if we want to collect quality data, we need to choose either face-to-face interviews or CATI interviews. And in the present climate, there is only one option. I don't think that doing interviews by the normal online method is a better option. Mm-hmm. There are two things that make CATI projects better than online projects. First, the response rate is higher. It is a more proactive approach, so you have more people responding. And secondly, the quality of the data is better. Yes, I know the cost of the CATI project is higher, but I believe the investment is worth it. And of course, the cost is lower than face-to-face interviews.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thanks for the answer. My next question is to you. Why do you think that this tool is such a good development?
Well, because we developed it. Just kidding. With this development, the CATI agent can show contents during an interview, and nowadays, and also due to the current situation in the world, this can be a solution for the companies that want to share content but can't do face-to-face interviews. And secondly, in the past we heard, or some people said, that the CATI methodology is dying. I believe that we created something that can change this thinking, something that makes CATI still a useful and important interview method today.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully this change will be absolutely.
I am sure about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so one final question, and it is something that you and I have talked about in the past. I know you are very passionate about this. This CATI web tool is insertable in any data collection tool. Why is it so important?
As the leader of the research operation department, my opinion that it is a must nowadays that any tool we develop must be insertable in any data collection tool. As in our department, we use 7 softwares, and this kind of advantage of the CATI web tool, the integration, I mean that it can be integrated into any of those softwares, is very useful for us because we can recommend it to our clients without any doubt, without any concern, because there is no risk. Of course, we need to find the balance. When is it useful for our clients, or when is it better to make an online project? And when the client needs a CATI project, we don't have to spend a lot of time with the implementation because this CATI web tool can be used in software A or in software B.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm correct, you already tried in your softwares.
Yes, exactly. We already implemented in Nebu and Askia as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Zsolt. I think it is fitting that the final question should go to the developer of this tool. So, Zsolt, number one, back to you. What's in store for CATI Web?
Store? Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Oh, come on. Let me clarify. I meant what happens next with the CATI Web? Have you dreamed up your next upgrade, or are you already working on it maybe?
Of course. Yeah. Continuous improvement actually is a huge part of what we are doing at DataExpert. Mm-hmm. And with the CATI web tool, I can tell you that some developments are in pipeline already. But that's all I can tell you at the moment, I think. So I really recommend to join our future webinars. New things will come.
Oh, funny boy, isn't he? Keeping secrets. Okay. So the message is stay tuned and all will become clear.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thank you, both of you, Zsolt. Thank you. Okay, Angie, it is the time for more questions, I think. This is the time from our audience.
Yes. We have a few minutes to answer some of your questions. Our first question is, Presumably, you still need to start with sample to send the original invite email. In many CAPI studies, e.g. at transport hubs, we don't have the email address because you are meeting the respondent for the first time when you see them. Jot, could you please answer the question?
Yeah, sure. That's a really good question, actually, because that's really important to mention that we are trying to provide as much flexibility with the tool as we can. So probably if you just don't have any kind of contact information like the email address, you still have the possibility just to tell the respondent the code that can be entered to a portal, but can be developed easily. So they can just submit their really simple but unique ID and they can just join. Also, we can have some additional features, like we can just send the link to respondents by an SMS or on any other kind of channels. So I really hope it answered this question. Thank you.
Yes, we have lots of questions. The last one will be, do you think this tool can compete with the fact that it can also be shown in an online questionnaire where you don't even need agents, so it's cheaper?
So let me answer this.
Thanks, Tamás.
I think you're right. It would be cheaper because you don't have to pay and organize interviewers. It must also be investigated that trust cannot be built by just clicking on the next button. And in my opinion, in many cases, people don't even open the link. So and the research period can be lengthy. If we see that the research is shorter, data is more valuable and usable, then the correct balance is already displayed in value for money, I think.
Okay, thank you for the questions, and any other questions we promise to reply to you personally via email. And a big thank you to our two Zsolts today. Thank you, Zsolt Aponyi.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to Zsolt Takács.
Thank you, thank you.
And especially to our presenter, Tamás.
Thank you, it has been absolutely a pleasure. Thanks for all of you.
And let's close our webinar today. If you'd like to find out more about the CATI web tool, if you think this tool could be useful for you and your work, then please get in touch. Here at DataExpert, we feel it is our duty during this difficult period to support you. Every one of you can receive a great offer which will last until the 1st of July. If you are with us, then we are also with you. So keep your eyes on your emails for the offer, and thank you for attending today's session. And finally, our next webinar will be in 3 weeks on the 30th of April, and will be organized together with Frank Buckler, who is the founder and CEO of Success Drivers. We will show the main principles of efficient reporting for MR projects. Follow us on LinkedIn and be first to find out all the latest news from DataExpert. Until then, stay safe, stay home, and stay with DataExpert. Thank you. Bye-bye.